We have been ushered into 2024, and we can draw some key lessons from this scripture of Joshua 1:1-9. The words spoken to Joshua by God are not only relevant to his journey when he was now to move the children of Israel from the wilderness and cross Jordan into Canaan. Remember, at this point in time, Moses had died because God told Moses he was not going to see the promised land. So he called him to the mountain and he never returned. And now the people of Israel were in the wilderness and they were to cross the Jordan River to the promised land. And it was at this point in time that the word of the Lord came to Joshua. The lessons God outlined for Joshua is as good as it is today in our time. And I am going to highlight key points that will guide us in this direction. We need to appreciate what God told Joshua about the next phase of his life. As I have promised you, I'm not going to go into details, but I'll highlight just the key points. The first principle and lesson we can pick up from this content is change is inevitable. Change is inevitable. In other words, you can't do without change. Here at this point in verse 1, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' servant. After his death, God spoke to Joshua. After the death of Moses, God told him, you people are right at the wilderness. Now, Moses is not coming back. It is now time for a change. It is time for a fresh start. It is time for a new beginning. And Joshua, you are going to move into a new territory. And in 2024, we are moving into a new territory. So change, you can't stop change. Change is unavoidable. You either change or change will change you. If you refuse to change, change will change you. Our fathers told us that when the times are changing, you also change. In other words, you need to understand the dynamics of your world and change the way you are doing things. Church management and doing church cannot be compared to doing church in the 1930s or the 1950s or 30 years ago. 30 years ago of doing church cannot be done in this 2024. It has changed. If we want to attract different class of people in our church, we must do things differently. The days are different, the times are different, the situations are different. You can't say that this is how we did it in the past. And Maria Danny, things have changed, you must change. There are three things that will demand change. Change offers three major things. Number one, it gives you opportunity for growth. It gives you opportunity for growth. It gives you opportunity to learn. And it gives you opportunity to receive the promises of God if you're a believer. So number one, principle that God gave to Joshua was that it is time for change. That change is inevitable. Number two, don't live in the past. Don't live in the past. Give me verse 2. He said, Moses, my servant, is dead. It appeared like Joshua was not aware that Moses had died. And they were mourning and mourning and mourning and waiting with the hope that Moses might come back. And it was like God came to Moses and Joshua and said, hey, Joshua, are you sleeping? No. Are you not aware that the change has taken place? And then in verse 2, he said, if you don't know, I have come to announce to you, Moses, my servant is dead. Now it is time. Arise and go. Arise and go. If you need to move into the new era in 2024, Don't live in the past. Don't spend your time in the past. Don't spend your time weeping and crying about the past. Don't beat yourself down because you committed mistakes and all kinds of nasty things in the years behind you. Forgive yourself and move on. Forgive yourself and move on. Don't beat yourself down and look down upon yourself. I'm a sinner. I'm hopeless. I am a dirty person. I'm a dirty woman. I'm a dirty man. I can't get things right. Don't beat yourself down. When God forgives you, He's forgiving you. Forgive yourself and move on. Forgive yourself and move on. Don't try to hide the scars of your pain. Be proud of your scars, because the scar reminds you of the mercies of God. Human beings will remind you of your scar, which is a scar of pain, of regret. But you should remind yourself that the scar there is a reminder of the mercies and of the goodness of God. So don't live in the past. What is gone is gone. He said, Moses, my servant, is dead. You can't bring him back, but arise and move forward. I have come to remind somebody, stop complaining. Stop living in the past. Stop looking down upon yourself. What is past is past. Your failures are past. Even your victories are past. Move on. Forgive yourself. Go on in life. You have been forgiven. Say with me, I have been forgiven. No matter my mistakes and my shortcomings, I have been forgiven. I receive forgiveness. Therefore, I'm ready to move on.